If you're building your business for the world you are living in today, you are already behind. The business owners who thrive in the next era are building for who their clients will be and what they will need 1 year, 3 years, and 10 years from now, not who they are or what they need right now. Hello, my loves, and welcome back to the Full Body Yes podcast. I want to start today with something I keep hearing over and over again from clients, from followers, from friends, even from just women, different people that I meet by accidents in coffee shops or on the street. Everyone is saying the same version of something feels different. I can't put my finger on it exactly, but things in the world just feel off. I don't know what's happening, but something feels like it's changing. And I always smile because I feel it too. And I know it to be true. That sense that we're walking through a world that is shifting and that is rearranging itself in real time. And I broke this down in a lot of detail in the previous episode slash YouTube video. So if you didn't listen to that, make sure you go back and you listen because that will really give you the context for what we are talking about today. And what I find fascinating is that most people that I talk to, most people that I see, respond to this feeling in one of two ways. Either they panic. What does this mean for my business, for my income, for everything that I've built? Should I just go and get a secure job because everything just seems to be changing so rapidly? Like, how can I be sure that my business will even survive this? Or the other type is people are just freezing. They are just ignoring what's happening and thinking that if they just close their eyes, nothing will happen and they will just be okay. They kind of hope that life and that the universe will just stabilize itself and things will just continue as they are. And I get that because until not so long ago, I was one of these people. I did not want to look at what was happening in the world. I did not want to believe that I had to constantly change and pivot. And listen, as an entrepreneur, you always have to change and pivot. Like that is one of the main qualities and skills that an entrepreneur needs in order to survive and thrive in this entrepreneurial world, which like if you're listening to this, you are likely an entrepreneur and a business owner, and you know that it is not for the faint of heart, but especially with everything going on in the world right now, with the spiritual, energetic shifts and physical shifts as well that I talked about in the previous episode. Now, this skill of being able to shift and pivot and having a look at the outside and seeing how you match that is more important than ever. And that is why now I see what is happening in a completely different light. Now, what I've come to learn and to realize is that in order for your business to grow, to scale, and to maintain you and help you live this beautiful, abundant life in the next years and decades, is you have to build your business for the world that your clients will be living in, not today, but 3 years from now, 5 years from now, 10 years from now. And that idea really changes everything because the truth is what I've seen with so many clients, so many business owners that I talk to. I've seen that also in just different business mentorships that I've been in, especially back when I was an online health and fitness coach. Most business owners are taught and are building for what is happening right now. Content that is going viral right now, offers that are selling right now, problems that people are facing right now, the things that will grab your audience's attention right now. And that is not bad. That might gain you success now, which is great. And I'm not saying we want to ignore that completely, but if you are here, you are likely wanting to scale your business and grow it to something really meaningful and impactful, not just in the short run, but in the long run. And what I need you to understand is what your clients need today is not what they're going to need a few years from now, especially with the rapid changes that we are seeing in the world. And if you build for today, your business will always feel like it's behind, like it's chasing something. And honestly, with the shifts that we're seeing right now with the economy, with AI taking over, all of those things, most businesses, like more than 90% of the businesses, will probably find themselves failing in the next few months, in the next few years. And I don't want to fear monger. I never want to do that, but that is just the truth. If we don't learn to adapt and see and look ahead, and I'm not saying that in a very kind of strategic way. You know me, I teach energetics, I teach spirituality. So this is the angle that we're going to be talking about all of this from. But you need to be able to plan for the future. And that is how you make sure that you're going to stay ahead. Now, being able to build your business for who your clients are becoming and for their evolving needs over the next few years, that is real leadership. That is real magnetism, and that will make sure that your business stays sustainable. Now, all of this is based off both my intuition and being able to kind of look ahead, see the shifts that people are going through, and also my just the way my brain works. So, if you are listening to this, you likely know that I am a PhD doctor. I have a PhD, and I spent over a decade studying human behavior, studying patterns, researching patterns and identity shifts. And I trained my mind to see and be able to identify those patterns. And then in addition to that, years of spiritual growth and now nearly a year of training my intuition on the highest level with the highest level mentors, that also trained my body and my energy to be able to see these shifts, to feel them, and to predict them. And that combination of pattern recognition that I gained with years of research and my intuition, my highly trained intuition, is what allows me to sense where things are going before most of the world can name it or see it. Now, the reason I'm bringing all of this up, it's actually been inspired by a client session that I had a couple of weeks ago. So I had a client come to me in kind of a panic. And she said, everyone in my industry seems to be pivoting, seems to be changing everything. Should I pivot too? Should I change everything? And before we dived into what to do, which is a lot of what I do in those sessions, so I look in intuitively on what the person needs to do and the best pathways for them, both energetically and strategically, the best ways, the shortest ways to really grow their business in the most aligned way for their soul. But before I looked in and kind of gave her the direction that she needed, I asked her a very different question. And that question was, who do you think your clients will be in 3 years? And what will they be struggling with then? And it took her some time to reply because no one had ever asked her that. She'd only ever been asked, what's happening today? What are your clients' pleasure and pain points today? What is trending right now? What is converting for people in the world right now? But when she actually sat with that question that I asked her, she realized that her ideal client was not getting simpler. They are actually becoming more self aware. They are going deeper. They are becoming more emotionally intelligent. They are becoming less tolerant to surface level coaching because now they have all of this knowledge in the world at their fingertips, right? If we thought until a few years ago that we had all the knowledge in the world with Google, now that we have AI and ChatGPT, we literally can ask AI to do almost anything for us, right? Like we can ask it to write meal plans for us, to write fitness plans for us, to write business plans for us, to figure out how we can save money, what investments we should make, all of that. Now, it's not bulletproof, of course, especially when it comes to investments, because again, the world is changing so rapidly. But she realized that her future clients will be a lot less tolerant and they just won't need all of that surface level coaching, which isn't really coaching at all, right? Like writing plans and stuff that you can just literally ask ChatGPT to do for you for much cheaper and probably much quicker. She realized that her future clients, what they will really need is precision, is support, is real depth from her as a coach. And suddenly the products and the offers that she thought she maybe needed to scrap or change were not necessarily irrelevant. She just realized, okay, they are incomplete. I don't need to scrap everything, but I need to have a look at what my clients will need a few years from now and build more towards that, market more towards that. So she realized she needs to start building for the next version of the world and not the version that exists right now. And that single insight that we came up with during the session changed her entire business trajectory. And then later on, of course, we dive deeper into the strategy intuitively, what her higher self, her soul, want her to do and what will get her to her goals the fastest. And this is the difference between just running a business, especially like a coaching business, online coaching business nowadays, to really building a movement. And those people who are just building businesses and thinking a month ahead or even a week ahead. Like I've spoken to so many people who don't even know what they're launching or doing next week. That is the difference. And those people, if they don't change and pivot, they are likely either not to survive or to always be chasing and feeling like they are not enough. And I have seen that so much with so many business owners that I talk to that come to me for sessions, that they are not planned. They do not plan ahead, not their content, not their offers, not what they're going to do with their businesses as the world is changing. And the world is changing. Everything is changing. And we have to prepare for everything. And I know that as you're listening to this, you're probably like, this is very masculine energy, right? And I wouldn't say I'm not masculine energy, but you're probably more used to getting that balance for me of masculine and feminine, strategy and energetics. And both are important. But what I want you to understand is actually having a plan is a very spiritual, energetic concept. It is even, you could say, a manifestation concept. When you have a business plan, a plan for your business for how it's going to get to a certain level in the next year, in the next 3 years, in the next 5 years, even if it's not the perfect plan, by the way, it does not have to be perfect. It does not have to go down to the most nitty gritty is how you say it? Yeah, nitty gritty details, but you do need to have a plan. In terms of manifestation, when you think of the rules of manifestation, if you do not have a plan, if you are just floating, day to day, how is that telling your brain that you are a serious business owner? How is that telling your subconscious that you have a plan and you're going to make that happen? So energetically, having a plan and also preparing for the worst. And that is a different concept. That is the concept of the law of preparedness. What you prepare for the most is likely not to happen, which is a good thing. So you always want to prepare for the worst case scenarios because then it makes them less likely to happen. But overall, this is a very energetic concept. And this is something that I work on a lot with clients who come to me because they are so busy running the day to day of their businesses, chasing trends, chasing what is working right now, that they don't realize that if you are serious about your business, you need to plan ahead. You need to tell the field, tell your subconscious, to tell the universe that you are taking this seriously. And when you have a plan, even if it's a bad one, that already signals to the universe and to your subconscious, to your energetic field, to your creator field, that you are serious. And then even if you have to pivot and change along the way, which you definitely will, you know that you are leading yourself somewhere. Okay, but now let's get down to the question. How do you know what your clients will need 1 year from now, 3 years from now, 10 years from now? How do you know that? The world is changing so rapidly. Market research won't tell you that. Trends won't tell you that. Algorithms that change every week will not tell you that. And most business experts don't even know. They are always looking backwards or on the present day. They are not looking forward. The only real tool that you have for this is your intuition, and we'll get to that a bit later on. But first, I want to talk a little bit about the back end of your business. So most people think that the back end of their business is their website, their funnels, their content pillars, their launch strategies, their branding, the offer suite, and all of that matters, of course. We talked on last week's episode about how this new paradigm requires us to work 50% in the physical world, 50% in the energetic world. And everything that I said so far is physical, which is super important, and we need to give it 50% of our attention. But most of the world doesn't give the other 50% nearly as much attention. And that is why so many people are stuck. And there is a back end of your business that is completely energetic. And that is the part of your business that is invisible, that nobody can see. It is your clarity, it is your self image, it is your emotional stability. It is how you are able to lead yourself and hold yourself during transitions. It is your intuition and your inner authority. It is your nervous system capacity. It is your willingness to shift, evolve, pivot before you are comfortable with doing that. So, this is what allows you to build something that truly lasts. This is what allows you to serve people at a higher level without burning yourself out. And this is what allows you to sense where your industry is going before the world catches up. We have to make sure, and you have to make sure as a business owner who is planning to have huge impact on the world, you have to make sure that yes, you are preparing strategically and physically, and you are also preparing the back end, that invisible part, the energetic part that nobody sees. Now, if that inner energetic aspect is strong, your business can adapt, it can pivot, it can move with the world instead of collapsing every time that something changes. If it's weak, if you don't work on that energetic side, your entire business will be really fragile. One quiet week on Instagram, and you are questioning everything. One glitch or a failed sales call or one quiet month can send your nervous system into a panic. One client with big emotions who might be coming to you with a complaint or is unhappy, and you are ready to burn the whole thing down. Listen, I get it. I am not saying I'm perfect. I get it. I had to learn all of these lessons the hard way. There was a season in my business, in my old business, when I was an online health and fitness coach, where from the outside, it looked like I was doing everything right. I was the coach who was always replied instantly, even on Sundays, over delivered constantly, carried everyone's emotional worlds on my back, gave everyone and their mother discounts if they couldn't afford my full coaching. And internally, I was falling apart. That version of me, the hyper responsible, the self sacrificing, the let me hold everything for everyone version, could never have held the business that I run today. She didn't have the emotional stability. She didn't have the self image that I have right now. She didn't have the self love and the boundaries. She didn't have intuition and self trust. Her nervous system was constantly on edge. Like I was waking up at that point at 4:30 a.m. every morning, and I would not stop for a second until 10 at night for barely a full-time income. Like it was more or less full-time. It sustained me. It definitely wasn't anything that was worth like how many hours of my day? Like, I don't know, 18 hours off my day. Like it would have been much more worth it for me to just get a 9 to 5 job in that sense. So I had to rebuild, and not just rebuild my business, which essentially looking back, what I did, and I didn't realize it at the time, but I actually just shut down one business and started another one. It happened quite gradually, which is why like I didn't have like a big announcement like, hey, I'm shutting down this business, because it kind of evolved over time. I took myself from an online health and fitness coach to kind of like mindset, high performance coaching, and eventually found myself in the iteration of this business now, which has been with me since I want to say April or May, which is manifestation, intuition, helping mainly business owners and leaders. But overall, I didn't just need to rebuild the way I did business, I had to rebuild me. I had to become the woman who leads and not just overextends. A woman who is stable in her own energy and who masters her emotions. And I think not enough people talk about emotional mastery in the world. And that is such an important skill for every human, but especially if you are a business owner. Now, I am saying this as a person who is highly sensitive, highly emotional. If I remember, I had a point last year in April after I had a really, really good first quarter in 2024. I had one sales call in April where the person on the call was like ready to sign up for my coaching, gave me like, so at that point I was taking people's card informations to put them into my system. Now I do it differently. Well, actually after that I learned that I could actually just send them payment links. I never knew that before. But halfway through giving me her card details, she stopped and she essentially implied that she's worried that I'm going to steal her credit card details, and she kind of said, okay, let me just speak to my husband and I'll get back to you. And then she just ghosted me after that. And that really knocked me out. At that point, I knew about reflections, but I think I just preferred somewhere internally just staying in victim. And of course, since then, I've done so much work on myself, which is what I'm talking to you about today. But that led to a whole emotional spiral where I think for a couple of months, I didn't sign any new clients after being on a roll from January to March. And the reason for that was, well, first of all, I didn't look into the reflection and shift that because she was reflecting an imbalance of me, right? Nothing really exists outside of us. Everything that happens to us, that triggers us, is a reflection of an internal imbalance. But I let my emotions lead me so much. I felt so crap about that. I felt so weird. I don't even know how to explain that I just self-sabotaged completely. So emotional mastery is such a crucial element of being a successful business owner. I've also become a woman who makes decisions from intuition, not from overthinking, not from pressure, not from fear. And that has made my life, I can't even tell you how easier my life is since I trained my intuition, because I just don't have to overthink anything. Like nothing. If I have an idea for an offer, I check intuitively with higher self, and I can just get very easily if that's a good offer for me to run or not, if it's profitable or not, if I should launch it this month or next month or whatever month, how much I should charge for it. And I can have a whole plan done for that offer within 10 minutes, having checked with intuition. And that means that I do not spend so much time overthinking because I trust my higher self so much that what she tells me to do, I do. And I've also become a woman who builds for longevity and not for the short term. And listen, in the short term, I might be harming myself. If you go and look at my Instagram right now, you will see that a lot of the content that I post nowadays, especially in the last couple of weeks, has not gotten many views. It has not reached lots of people. And listen, it's not that I don't know how to go viral. I have taken all the courses, I have studied all the different, viral reels. I know how to go viral. But right now, I am focusing mainly on depth, on very deep content, which is why I am investing everything that I have into my podcast, into my YouTube, not so much into my Instagram, because I know that the world is going, where my business is going, is towards business owners who have this emotional depth, who want to listen to long conversations and want to take in these really deep spiritual teachings. And that is not something that you can do from a 10-second viral reel on Instagram. I am not saying that that is bad. I am not saying that you should not at all focus on getting more followers and more people to see you. Of course, that is important. But overall, I am building right now for creating this authority and for creating trust with the people that I know resonate. And if that means that my reels will get 500 views from the right people rather than 10,000 views from the wrong people, well, you know what I'm choosing. And even if that means that those people will only buy a year from now, or some people will only find me a year from now and have all of this content to binge, I am so happy about that because I am building for the long run and I am making sure to talk to what people are going to need, not just today, but a year from now, 3 years from now, and 5 years from now. I want you to understand that business is only as stable as the person leading it. So if I'm thinking back to the time where I was not leading myself properly, well, if I couldn't hold myself back then, how was I supposed to hold a client or a team or a bigger vision? And that is why things started crumbling after that sales call for a few months. And I had to learn how to lead myself. And then I did get my business back up. I did get more clients. I did go back to earning a more or less full-time income. But that season forced me to really rebuild my entire back end, both internally and externally. And that was not by adding more strategy, but by working on my self image, on my identity as a leader, and becoming more myself, becoming more authentic with myself first and foremost about what I wanted from my business and how I wanted to lead my business, and then also becoming more authentic and self expressed externally, making people see who I really am and what I truly believe in. And of course, then I also did the physical strategy of setting up a website, building programs, building funnels and backends and all of those things, all of that physical action that needs to happen at the same time, which again, 50% of the work has to be that. Again, I talk to so many business owners who are stuck at a certain income level. And I have a look at their businesses and they don't have a website, or they don't have ways for people to literally click a link and pay them. Their clients have to go through this really, really long process of even being able to pay them. And they don't sell regularly because they don't want to come across as salesy. So people don't even know how incredible their offers are. So all of that is important. But again, the energetic back end is just as important. And as I worked through that, working on my self image, working on rewiring my brain, and working on the physical aspects as well, that's when my business started to feel truly magnetic. Because magnetism is not about being louder or going viral or being more exciting. Magnetism is that calm, that clear, that grounded energy that you carry, especially when the world feels wobbly. It's your ability to lead yourself, to stay anchored when everyone else is panicking. It is your capacity to hold a higher frequency, regardless of what's happening outside and regardless of the metrics. Now, let's talk a little bit about intuition as well, because working on your self image, on your identity as a leader is crucial, but you must have trained intuition to be able to really see where the world is going, what your clients need, not just right now, but in the future as well. If you are building a business, not just for today, but for 3 years from now and 5 years from now and 10 years from now, trained intuition is not optional. Your intuition is the part of you that knows when an offer is complete before the numbers might reflect it. It knows when a shift is coming before other people talk about it and what that shift looks like. It knows when your client avatar, your ideal client avatar, is evolving and what it is evolving to, what your ideal client will need a few years from now, who they will be, what they won't need and what won't speak to them. Your intuition is what tells you what offers will succeed, how to market them, the best marketing angles, the best pricing. All of that is intuition. And this is so, so crucial. Your intuition is what separates you from the average business owner out there. It is what lets you see where the world is going and feel the new directions. It is what helps you build offers that your clients will desperately need, but won't be able to articulate then and definitely cannot articulate now. Your intuition is your compass, it is your data, it is your strategic advantage for everything, for growing your business, for delivering the best possible outcomes for your clients, for having the most amazing reputation, for being able to see where the world is going, for supporting your clients in the best way possible, for having this magnetic presence. And I can go on and on and on, because when you have that cheat sheet, that hack for life, where you don't have to overthink, you don't have to dabble and think about things for ages. You ask higher self, you get your answers, and you go from there. That is when your business will be miles ahead of most businesses in the world. Now, even if it takes some time, when you are building a business from intuition, when you are creating offers from intuition, that is when you know that you are building for the long run, where those businesses that are maybe making much more than you are right now, well, in the long run, they might not exist because they do not know how to build for this new world. Now, if you want to start building for this new world, you have to train your intuition. Now, we are all intuitive. We were all born with intuition, but as I talked about last week, with time in this old world that we are finally shifting out of, we learned to not trust our intuition. We learned to outsource our power. We learned maybe even to believe that intuition isn't real, that communicating with source, with higher self, with angels, with guides is woo and is not real. And as a person who is highly academic with a PhD, I tell you that it is real. And I might do a whole podcast episode actually about it in the future, about the science of intuition. If you are interested in that, definitely DM me and let me know. But intuition is your cheat sheet. If there's anything at all that I would work on, well, two things really are intuition and then your self image, which includes your identity and your frequency as well. And intuition is not simply asking a question and like maybe hearing voices or seeing. Some people have that, but even if they do have that, that doesn't mean that the answers that they are getting are 100% accurate. There are so many different factors that so many people, even psychics and highly intuitive people, are not aware of. And that is why, even if you go to a very famous psychic or intuitive reader, if they just have those abilities intuitively and naturally without having trained them, they are normally maybe 50, 60% accurate, definitely not 100% accurate. And that is why training your intuition to be able to get the right information, asking the right questions, making sure that your energy is clear and not attached to any other energies out there. There's a whole science and formula for this. But just to start strengthening that muscle even a little bit by yourself, you can start by asking yourself this one question: who is my client becoming? And what will he, she, they need 1 year from now that they don't even know to ask for yet? So sit with that and then ask, who do I need to become to serve those clients to the best of my ability? And this is where the work begins. And then at the same time, building the back end physical structures as well. When you evolve, your business has to evolve with you. And when you see further, when you lead further, when you look further ahead, that is where your business will be further ahead as well. So, how do you actually integrate all of this in the highest level? Sometimes I look back and I realize how much my journey, my own personal journey, has prepared me for this era. The academic side of me that sees patterns and recognizes patterns, the intuitive side of me that can feel what other people are feeling and can predict and see what's coming, and the entrepreneurial self leader side of me who rebuilt her entire business from a higher identity. And all of that is what I do with my clients and what I do inside of my offers. So, first of all, if you want a bit of a taster of what it's like to raise your frequency and raise your identity in physical action at the same time, and doing this in a designated 40-day container where I promise you, you will not be the same person, the same leader, the same business owner by the end of it. And you will start seeing external results from day one of following the program. This is where my program, God's Favorite, comes in. It is a 40-day experience where every single day we work on elevating your frequency, elevating your identity, and elevating your embodiment in physical action. I have gotten so much incredible feedback already for God's Favorite, and it is only at the moment $111. It is worth 10 times that, if not more. We are currently in the middle of it, but you can start it at any time. You do not have to do it during a live round. There's no difference really, except that in a live round, there is this collective energy, but you can start it at your own time. And whenever you purchase it, you have access to the prep materials and day one. And then the following days, each day, the next day opens up for you. So I invite you to go check out the link in the show notes or in the description box. You will also see client messages already, incredible things that have happened, family treating them differently, sums of money coming out of nowhere, clients coming after dry spells, being invited to do speaking gigs. All these different beautiful blessings come when they open up their energy and when they elevate and lead themselves inside of this 40-day container. So I invite you to join. And again, I just would not sleep on this program. I deliberately priced it very low. Again, listening to my intuition, because I know that this is something that every person, every entrepreneur, and every business owner needs in order to 10x their identity, their income, their results. And once you see that, that is when I invite you to come into my higher proximity opportunities. One of them is booking a session with me or an intuitive read. You can check that out in the show notes. Or I also invite you to come into my one on one mentorship. And my one on one mentorship is not strategy, it's not just your BS mindset that you see online. It is full spectrum leadership in every area of your life. I work with entrepreneurs privately in one on one mentorship and through private sessions to build a life and a business that is emotionally resilient, that is financially abundant, that is aligned and feels good energetically, that is designed for future demand and future needs, that is grounded in the person that you are becoming, in your real, true soul self, and that is also structurally solid, prepared for what's to come in the physical aspect as well. And in addition to all of that, we train your intuition to the highest level. Now, training your intuition is not something that is done in a day, it's lifelong work. And the more you do it, it's a muscle. The more you do it and the more you learn it, the better your intuition becomes, and the more you can trust it, and the more incredible results it will bring you. And this is something, intuition, that I only do inside of my one on one long term mentorship. It is not something that I can do with a client in a one off session. This is something that requires a lot of practice, a lot of progression. So, this is something that I only offer right now in my one on one mentorship. Now, I want to make it clear, this is not business coaching. This is full on leadership mentorship. We work on your energy, we work on your identity, and we work on your physical action in all areas of life. This is becoming the person whose business thrives and whose life thrives no matter what the external world does. Now, in terms of the physical strategy, what we do in the mentorship is refining your offers so they sell and that they are future proof. We create multiple pathways of revenue to make sure you always stay on top. We integrate your intuition into physical strategy. And overall, we build the version of you who can hold a bigger business, more abundance, a bigger identity, and a bigger impact. Most business owners don't need more tips or more tactics, right? They need someone who can see their blind spots, see their potential, expand their thinking, expand their energy, and help them build the business that their future self already knows that they are meant to run. This is what I do. And right now, I am doing some structural changes to my one on one mentorship, speaking of building for the future. So, as of right now, as I am recording this podcast and as it goes live, you cannot find a sales page about my mentorship yet. That's going to go up in the new year with all of the changes and shifts that I am making to this mentorship. And this is your opportunity. If you are listening to this in December of 2025, this is your opportunity to jump in at 50% off. And this offer is exclusive to my newsletter subscribers and podcast listeners. I am not announcing it on my Instagram because I want to make sure that this is for the people who are ready for this very, very deep work. So as of now, I am offering this at 50% off, and this only applies until I officially relaunch the mentorship on my website and on my socials. So if you are interested, DM me on Instagram at Dr. Shiri Leader, the word mentorship, or you can email me at hello@shirileader.com and I will give you more information. We can hop on a call if you want. Nothing is pressure with what I do. You will not be pressurized. I know most of you have probably been burnt by people who have chased you, who have made you feel uncomfortable, who have wanted to make you pay on sales call. And I have been there. I unfortunately have done that in the past before I learned how to work and operate a business on a soul level. I used to do that because I used to listen to all those mentors who are so rooted in just get the sale today instead of build something impactful that your soul wants to do. But overall, all of this to say is feel free to message me or email me the word mentorship if you want to find out more about it. You will not be pressurized into buying anything. And I will tell you more about what it includes, what we do inside, and you can make an informed decision for yourself. And if this episode resonated with you, if you are listening and thinking, this is exactly what I've been feeling, but I just couldn't say it, I couldn't express it, I couldn't articulate it. Okay, I need to prepare for this in a real way. I don't want my business to be fragile. I want it to be bulletproof. I want to lead myself fully, powerfully, wisely from a radical responsibility perspective. Then my private work is where you need to be. Message me, reach out, or have a look at the links. We'll look at what's right for you, whether it's a session, an intuitive read, or a long term mentorship. This is your time to upgrade your leadership. Do not postpone it. So, this is it for today, my loves. Thank you, as always, for being here. As always, if you enjoyed this episode and if you enjoy the podcast, I would very much appreciate it if you can rate us at 5 stars on Apple Podcasts, on Spotify. That helps us reach more people. If you are watching this on YouTube, I would be so grateful if you can like this video, if you can subscribe, if you can leave a comment. And as always, if anything in particular resonated with you, if you have any questions, feel free to message me on Instagram or email me and let me know. I always love hearing your thoughts, your insights, and what you learned. So that is all for me today. I love you all so much. Thank you for being here, and I'll see you in the next episode. Bye.